and welcome back to the shop. And first of all, I would just like to say thank you to everybody for the well wishes for my father and my wife and I. So my father got all his tests back. The cancer definitely is isolated to one spot. He is going to require surgery, and that surgery has been scheduled for November. So just waiting until the surgery. And in the meantime, he just has a few pre-op things that he's going to have to do eventually, and see how it goes from there. As far as my wife goes, everything's fine with her. She went to her first ultrasound. Everything looks great, and pregnancy is tracking along exactly the way it should be so far. So hopefully it keeps on that trend. So today in the shop, what we're going to be doing is taking a look at this 14N Jacobs Superchuck. Now, the difference between a Superchuck and their regular chucks is the Superchucks have ball bearings in them, so they actually have a much tighter grip than a standard plain chuck, and also, unlike a plain chuck, since the ball bearings are in here, you have a much better tendency of getting a nice uniform grip on the jaws by using just one chuck keyhole. So this one is, the jaws look okay, it's just a little stiff and it has some rust on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the rust off of there. We're going to take it apart and see if it just needs to be cleaned and greased, or if there's something broken that needs to be replaced inside. So why don't we come here on the bench, we'll take a closer look at it and we'll see how it comes apart. Okay, so here's our chuck. And like I said, we look pretty good there. We got a little bit of rust on that side, probably was sitting in a box or something like that, some moisture on it. The taper is pretty good. There's a little bit of rust around the outside, like surface rust. I can actually scrape it off with my fingernail, but there's not really much inside and there's no pitting. So all this here should clean up pretty easily. My problem is we open okay or close okay, but opening is really stiff right there, and then loose and stiff, and then loose and stiff. So I think it just needs the cleaning. This is a 12N, so this is a 1/2 inch capacity, just for comparison. This is the next size up. This is a 14N, and this is a 5/8 capacity. There's also an 18N, which is a 3/4, and a 20N, which is a 1 inch capacity, and then there's two smaller ones. I think it goes down to an 11N, which is 3/8 capacity, I believe. So I think it's one small in this, or something like that. Anyway, we need to take this apart. So it comes apart just like a plain one, where we set this at about halfway on the jaws. We put this in an arbor press by supporting this lip right here and pressing down on this piece here, and it should come right apart. And there'll be, unlike a plain chuck, there'll be ball bearings in here. So let's see if we can get this apart on the arbor press. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a piece of sandcloth real quick and clean right here, just so I have a nice smooth surface to get that collar off. And I'll get something that'll fit over the jaws here and press in either on this area here or on this area here. So let me set all that up, and then we'll come right back. Alright, so I have a part stack up to do what I want. I got a little collar here that'll push where the jaws will go above or in the middle of it, and this will push down on the outside ring, and these are tucked underneath that edge, so hopefully this will do the trick. Now this press is just bolted, well, it's just clamped to the bench actually. It's not bolted down because we don't have a permanent place to put it. So we'll see if this works. Not ideal, but we might be able to get away with it. I just need a cheater. Okay, here we go. See if this works. Yep. Okay. Alright, so we just broke that free right there. And I'm just going to get another stack up to lift that up a little further, and we'll be able to push it out. Alright, so we got that outside collar off. And inside here is a little bearing race with a slot. That slot is a spot for you to take out the balls if you line it up with the ball, then you can basically take them out and not lose them. Okay, put these all in the cup. Now this split nut here should be able to come off. As should the bottom bearing race. And the jaws should come out. Now, what I want to do first is somehow, now each one of these is different. Each one of these jaws is different. So each one of these has a different area right here, and that would identify them. Alright, so you saw what that one looked like. Now this one, you can see, looks a little different. And this one should look a little different than that one. So there we go, this is better. So you can kind of see what the profile of that one there looks like compared to the profile of that one compared to the profile of that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pictures of their corresponding spots in the slots. Yeah, even easier. I remember from when doing the other one, Jacob's website has the numbering system for their jaws, and then this has the actual numbers stamped on there. Right there. There's a 2, there's a 3, and there's a 1. So I don't have to worry too much about it, but you know, just for my own information, and I am going to take a picture of it. Okay, so we're all out. I'm going to clean everything up. It seems to be more than anything that number 3 is the sticky jaw. And there might be a little burr around this outside edge here. We'll find out when everything cleans up. So let me just, what I'm going to do real quick is just throw this in the lathe. I'm going to just lightly chuck it right here. That'll let us polish out this back face here and make sure that there's no rust or anything inside here. It's going to interfere with our tapered fit. And then I'll do the same thing with this collar here. And we'll get this all cleaned up. And then we'll clean the split nut here. So you can see basically what it is a collar that they then slice, and then that they actually physically snap in half. They break it. Alright, so you can see the edges are jagged and they're broken. They're meant to be like that so that they kind of key themselves together in the proper position. Like so. Okay, so that's not broken. It's supposed to be like that. And then the bearing race, and then the balls. So we'll drop all this stuff in here. We'll get some cleaning fluid in there, probably just some denatured alcohol or something that's going to eat the grease. And we'll let those sit for a few, and we'll go polish these up. Okie dokie. So everything's nice and clean. You can see that polished up quite nice. Just used a piece of red Scotch-Brite, and same thing with the collar here. And everything is nice and clean and laid out here. And the ball bearings are all nice and clean and drying. Just rolling them onto a nice clean spot there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is replace everything. So I have them set, the jaws set up already from 1 till 2. So we're going to put in jaw number 1 into the number 1 slot. Okay, that slides out in and out nice. And number 2 in there. That's sliding out nice. Now number 3 was the one that was binding a little bit. What I did is I took the track here and just ran a little file on this outside edge here and then this outside edge here to make sure there were no burrs. And seem to be pretty good in there now. Okay, so those are all in place. Now what we're going to do is take our brush. I got some Mollygraph right here. So this is high pressure. This is EP grease with molybdenum disulfide and some graphite. And what we're going to do right now is on these jaw teeth is just put whisper grease in there. I mean, we don't need a lot at all. We just want a little coat. And I'm going to put just a little bit, a little swipe in the bottom of this track here. Again, not needing much in this. You don't want it to sling out and go all over the place. You just need a little dab will do you there. Same thing here. Just put whisper in the track and on the teeth. Okay. Now we can put the inner race in. I'm going to take our collar. Again, just a little whisper in the gear side or in the thread side. Okay. And we're going to put, obviously, the bearing race side faces down. So these two go together like so. Actually, I gotta bottom out the jaws, so we want to make sure that we engage correctly with all of them right there. Okay, it's nice and free now. So what we need to do is drop in our ball bearings one at a time. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to leave this track clear so it's easy to get them in. Then I'll just put a little wipe of grease on there and we should be good to go. So camera ran out of juice there, but in case I didn't get it, you can see the entrance tab for the balls. Okay, and the track should be filled all the way. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to give those just a whisper of grease here. Just use the brush to work it in. Doesn't need to be much, we're just giving it a little coat. The reason why I didn't do this before was so that those ball bearings slid in there nice and easy. And of course one gets stuck to the brush. Okay, simple enough. I'm just going to take a rag, wipe off the excess on these two sides here where it is a press fit against that outside collar. Okay, everything works nice. Nice and smooth now. We're going to put our jaws at halfway again and wipe off the excess. Okay, and what we're going to do is go over and press this collar back on. Alright, so I just pressed it back together again, and she's smooth as silk. No more, yeah, there's definitely no more hard spot in there, and it feels just a smooth opening as closing. Yep. So we're good to go. This will live with the 13. I just have to get a number 3 Morse taper arbor by whatever Jacob's taper this is. I think it's like a number 2 or possibly 3. I don't think it's a 33. I'll just have to look them up and double check and then just get the correct Morse taper adapter. So thank you guys for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.